Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you for the DeKalb County Library System. And I'm not wearing any earrings today because I'm going to try on the ones that we make. So we're making earrings. And I love to do interchangeable things, especially when you're in travel mode. We're going to be traveling and things like that. And so I thought it would be really a lot of fun if we could make some interchangeable ear wires that are almost as decorative as the earrings. And that way you can pop some little beads on there and without having to change the entire earring every time. So you'll see what I mean when we get down here and start working on them. So those of you who get kits are going to have enough to make 3 pairs of earrings, enough beads and wire to make 3 pairs of earrings. And you'll need your usual tools, your round nose pliers. It's these with the nice little round legs or arms, or what do you want to call these little guys right here. They are tapered to the tip. They start a little bigger near the base. Sorry, my windows are open and there's kids going by and I was easily distracted. Sorry about that. Anyway, it's a little wider at the base and gets narrower towards the tip. Then we have our square pliers that are a little confusing sometimes to people because they are slightly rounded on the outside, but on the inside they're completely flat. So that's the difference between those and the round nose. And then of course we have our wire cutters that do just what I just said. They cut wire. Then you'll also need a ruler, and we're using 20 gauge wire. I usually use 20 gauge wire. I find that it's the easiest thing to find in the craft stores. So I kind of try to stick to that. Every once in a while, I'll do something other than that. Like today, we're also going to be using 24 gauge wire for a pair of earrings that we're making. But mostly I stick with the 20 gauge that you can find in any craft store. It's artisan wire, craft wire, copper, not aluminum. I use copper because I find it to be a little more versatile than the aluminum. The aluminum doesn't work harden sometimes the way I would like it to. So I stick with copper. And when I say copper, I don't mean copper colored. You can get copper colored copper wire, but you can also get silver colored copper wire and gold colored copper wire. So we're using 20 gauge copper wire today and a 24 gauge copper wire. So let's go ahead and get down here and get started because I want to show you how to make several types of ear wire and several types of ear ring to go on the ear wire. So let's get going. Okay, I'm going to start with this earring that I'm going to start with a head pin, a spiral head pin, and I'm making it a square spiral. I've got this long bead that I took off of a necklace, and I'm just going to make a spiral head pin to be used to go on my ear wire. So let's start with that. What I need for that is, let's see, 4, what was it, 5? Look at my notes, look at my notes, look at my notes. 4 inches. I need 4 inches of wire. And in order for you to not have to watch me measure everything out, I've already measured it. So I've got my little 4 inches of wire here. And I'm going to start making a spiral. So what I need for that is my little square pliers. And I need to go right here to the tip of my pliers with my wire. Get that nice and clear. I'm going to bring this way down if that helps. Okay, so I'm going to grab the very tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers, and I'm going to put a bend in. I'm going to give it one little bend, just like that. And then I'm going to slide it a little further down to make another bend. I've already made one, so I want to make it as close to this one as possible. You can go in and slide your pliers in and see where you did the other one when you're doing your second one. First one is easy because you don't have anything that you have to match it up to. That's the thing about earrings. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put another bend in. Here we go. And then I'm going to make another bend because I want what is called an open spiral here. I'm not making a tight spiral. So I'm going to go just past the tip of my wire, just past it. And I'm going to make another bend. So here's my tip right here. My wire, my pliers is just past that. And I'm going to make another bend. So there's the start. I check and see if it looks like this one. Pretty close. Okay, then I'm going to make another bend. Again, just past the tip, just under the tip. I hope you can't hear these people that are drag racing or something outside my window. Okay, just past the tip here. It's blurry to me. Let's see. I think that's better. I'm going to make another bend in my wire and do it again. Make another bend just past the bottom of my spiral. Make another bend. Check again and see what I've got here. Looks pretty good. There. That's better, Virginia. Okay. Should be a little bit smaller. And if that happens, just unbend. Just unbend it. I don't want to do that too many times because I don't want to break my wire, but I want to get it as close to looking like the other earring as possible. Again, the first one's easy because you just do what you want and then you match the second one up with the first one. Okay. And let's see here. Good. I think this could be a little less or out. So I'm going to re-bend that just a little bit. Right. That looks closer. Okay, let's put another bend in. And I just keep checking, make sure it looks as similar as possible. You know what, this should be a little bit closer, just a little. And I think I did that because I should probably start over, but I won't. Okay, so I need to make this a little closer to the first bend. I should show you how to do this without having to match something up, because that's where it gets long and involved for me. I'm going to bring that in a little bit Make that a little bit closer to the other one, the first one. Yes, that's more like it. Do my next bend. Yes, not bad, not bad, not bad. Let's do my next one. And it's hard to tell you exactly where to bend because it depends on your spiral. I'm matching this one up. As closely as I can get. Put another bend in. Good. Not too bad. And I'm going to do one more bend, and I think I'm where I need to be. Actually, one time around. Yes, just one more little bend. Let me check. Now I'm going to make my adjustments. Squeeze my wires to make them look the way I want them to look. Check this out. Pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. And I want it to be a mirror image, so they should be going in opposite directions. Push this down a little bit. Closer to the first wrap. Nice, not bad at all. One time around. Oh, I need one more little bend at the top. And I'm just going to use my fingers for that. Let's put a bend in. Nope, I'm using my pliers. It's too rounded. There we go. Straighten it out. Push it over. Make my little adjustments. Let's see what we have. We're going in opposite directions here. Oops, this way. Okay. So 1, 2, 3 wraps. This is a little bit further over than it needs to be. So I'm going to open that up again. A lot of trial and error going on here, huh? Yes. Got really close. That bend in. Make my little adjustments. Not too bad. Step down a little bit. Check again. Okay. And now I'm going to bend it up so that it'll go through my bead. So I'm going to go right here to the center of my spiral. And I'm going to bend my wire straight up. So here is the center right there. And I'm just going to straighten that wire. I'm going to slide my pliers in there, right in the middle of where my spiral is. I'm going to give it a sharp bend up. So there we go. Make whatever little adjustments I need to make. Looks pretty good. Pretty close to the first one. Yes. And let's grab my bead, slide it on. Yay, not too shabby. This, I'm going to squeeze this together a little bit more because it could be a little tighter, just a tad. Let's tighten that up. There we go. That's not too bad. Not too bad. Let me slide my bead on. You're doing this by hand, so sometimes it's not going to be what you think is perfect. And it needs to be mirror imaged. And that'll take care of that. We'll take care of that when we put the ear wire in. Oh, but that is really pretty good. Yay. Okay. So now time to make my loop at the top. I think what I'm going to do, scooch this over just a little bit. That out. Okay, so now it's time to make my loop at the top. Now, because I want this to show when I put it in my ear, when I hang it like this, and my ear wire is going to be going front to back. The loop to my ear wire is going to be going front to back. So what I want to do is make sure that this loop is going side to side. I think that'll make a little more sense when you see it on. So what I'm going to do is bend my wire to the side and get nice and close to the bead with my bend. And I'm going to grab my round nose pliers and I'm going to slide them under the wire, right between the wire and the bead. I don't really need too big a loop, just big enough to go through my ear wire. I'm going to go 1/3 of the way down my pliers because my little ear wire, I'm going to show it to you. My ear wire is going to have a little loop on it. So I need to be able to slide my earring onto my ear wire. Now I just cheated and showed you the finished product, but there you go. That's what we're doing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make a loop. Sliding my wire down 1/3 of the way down my pliers, not too far. Bring that wire over the top of my pliers and down the side where the bead is. Can't go any further because this bead's blocking me. So I'm going to open my pliers up, holding on to the bead and the wire, and I'm going to reposition my pliers like so. And then I'm going to bring that wire under my pliers and between the pliers and the bead. And now I'm going to wrap. Because for this one I just wanted to use up all my wire. So I kept wrapping until I used it all up and had a little cap on top of my bead. So I'm going to just wrap around my loop one time, nice and secure. And then I'm just going to keep wrapping down toward the bead and on top of the bead. See how I'm wrapping on top? This bead has a large hole in it and so I wanted to kind of cover that up and make something pretty while I did. So I'm just wrapping around my wrap until I have a little cap. And then when I get so I can't wrap anymore with my fingers because my wire was too short, I just went ahead and used my pliers to wrap the rest of the way around. And I'm not pulling, I'm bending and curving, because if I pull it, it'll creep under my other wires, and I don't want it to do that. I want it to stay out beside the other wires. And now I'm just going to direct that wire around the rest of the way until it's just resting beside the other wires. And I have a nice little cap on top of my bead. There we go. And there's my little earring with the spiral head pin. There it is. Yay. Oh, and it kind of goes with the decoration of this particular bead. Yeah, like that was an accident. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to make the ear wire itself. So for that, the ear wire, I need 3.5 inches of wire. Let's pull that out. I've already got that nicely cut. Okay. Just straightening it out a little bit and measure. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so now what I want to do for my ear wire, I want to make that kind of angle too. So what I'm going to do is make a little tiny loop right on the very end. And what I want to do is just make a kind of a go halfway around with my pliers. So I'm grabbing the very tip of my wire with the very tip of my pliers, and I'm going to make a half loop. Okay, so I've got half a loop. I'm going to go a tiny bit further and stop. I'm not going to make a full loop. Okay, then I'm going to take my square pliers and I'm going to squeeze the tip of my loop towards the top of my loop. So I have a little tiny nub. I could never make it this small with the tip of my round pliers because that tip of the pliers is bigger than this little nub. So there's my little nub, my little closed in loop. And so now I'm going to make the part that's going to hold my earring. So again, I've already made one, so I want to match up what I've already got. So I'm going to go right about here to make my first bend. And you can try to measure it. You can put your pliers in to see how far down to go. So I just need to go about here. I'm going to hold it with my finger, take out my wire, plug the other wire in, and I'm right under my loop. Shift it a little bit. Let's hope it's in the right spot. Nah, measure twice, bend once. Slide that back there. Okay. Line my wire in right, hugging my finger. There's my little loop right there. Okay, that's a loop. Get this. I'm going to bring it down more, I think. Yeah, oops. Okay, so there's my little loop. Pliers just under it. I'm going to put a bend. Just like that. So there's my first bend. Like this one. Okay, and I'm going to make another bend. So I'm going to check the one that I've already done, see where to go, mark it with my finger. Go. And slide my wire down to my finger. Close my pliers, try not to catch your skin in there. And bend. Looks good. So far, so good. Yes. Okay. And what's next? Now I want to go up here and make a little angled top. I want everything angular on this one, just for something a little different. Don't normally make French wires like this. They're usually all rounded. So I just wanted to do something a little different. Okay, so this is where I need to make this bend. I'm gonna start it with my fingers, but I want it to be nice and sharp. I just want to put the mark in there. I want it to be nice and sharp, so I'm going to go with my pliers right where I just bent. I'm going to put a bend in there. Double check. That looks a little short to me. It is a little short. It needs to go a little higher. So I'm going to unbend. Measure again. And put my bend in. Okay, let's check it out. Yes, that's more like it. Okay. And then I need another bend at the top here. Slide down. There we go. And that's where my next bend is going to go. And you can, again, you can mark it with your finger. Make sure that my wire is resting against where my other bend. And I'm going to put another bend in. Let's check it out. Looks a little large, just a little bit. So I'm going to scoot it over just a tad. And rebend. There we go. Okay, I need to do one more little bend. Yes, 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 yes. It's going to need to go right about here, but let me measure just to be certain. Okay, That's where my wire should go. Slide that in, clamp down, and bend. Okay, check it out. Yes, 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 not bad at all. That's very good, in fact. So now all I need to do is shape my wire. I can see this side is a little teeny bit bigger than the other side. So I'm going to re-bend just on the inside of that. Let's see, this one is here. Let's just flip that around there and rebend. And you now, as much as you don't want to do this too much, the more you do it, the more work hardened your wire gets, which is a good thing because you don't want this to be too malleable for too long. Okay, and there we go. Okay, and there's the top. And now all I need to do is shape the part that's going in my ear. See, this is 3.5 inches, and you can see I have way too much, but it's better to have too much and cut off than it is to have too little and have to start over. So now I'm just shaping it. I'm just putting a gentle curve in. And then I'm going to clip it down to the same size as the first one I made. So right there, let's clip that off. Okay. And I grab my pliers. It could be your round pliers or your square pliers. And I'm going to put a little ledge right here on the end, just a little tweak. Just like that. And there are my ear wires. Yeah, that's it. Now, what you want to make sure that you do is file the ends. Before you put them in your ear, you want to round these out because you don't want to put sharp ear wires in your ear. You want to make sure that they're nicely rounded so that when you put them in your ear, you don't get poked or cut. And you also don't, you want to file them the way you file your nails. You don't want to saw back and forth. You want to go one direction all the way around and just round it out. And I'm just using a plain old emery board. You can use an emery board, you can use a nail file. You don't need anything special. There we go. Nice. This one's already done. And now all I need to do is pop my earring on. And I like to kind of close it up just a little bit so that I know that's not going to come out of there. So just pop that on. And I have an earring. And I wanted something that was just a little bit different. So both of these are squared off. My spirals are square. And there's my earring. Ah, neat, huh? Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Make sure I did that right because you want these to be mirror imaged. So this one's spiraling this way, this one's spiraling that way, and then when I put them in my ear, they'll be going in the right direction. So there we go. There's my first pair. Now I'm gonna make another one of these with a square spiral, but I want to make a tight spiral this time. I'm going to use this neat paper bead. And I'm going to make a tight spiral just to show you something different. So again, I'm going to need the same 3 inches of wire. Let me see what I got here. About 4 inches of wire. I only have 3.5 here, but I think that's going to be enough. So let's go ahead and do it. I think I used the one that I was supposed to use for this. That's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna cut another piece just to be safe. Oh no, you know what? I don't need as much for this one because I'm making a closed spiral, so it's not as big. So for this one, I need about 3.5 inches. So let's do this. So I'm gonna make a small bend, just like I did with the other one. So tip of my pliers on the tip of my wire here. I don't want anything really sticking out. And I'm going to put a bend in. Okay. Then I'm going to make another bend. I'm going to go a little further down for that bend. So I'm going to go about 1/8 of an inch down my pliers, not too far. And I'm going to make another bend. Okay. Get that out. Then I'm going to go in and make again about 1/8 of an inch down my pliers. I'm making sure that my pliers hug this side of my wire. And I'm going to make another bend. Notice how tight this is because I'm making a closed spiral. Okay, so I'm going to go inside again and make another bend. Now this time I need to make sure that the bend is right beside the other wire. So I need to go as close as I can. I'm going to put my finger in there and bend it right next to the other wire. Okay, and I'm going to do that again, but I'm going to go ahead and take my pliers and put them on the outside of my wire. So I'm holding on to the face of my wire. Now, I want a nice sharp bend. So instead of bending towards the other wire, this is the way I want to go. But before I do that, I'm going to plant my pliers right here, just at the edge of my last bend. And I'm going to bend the wire down. I know that makes no sense, but then what I do is bend the wire back up in the direction of the other bend, and I get a really sharp, close bend, which is what I want. So now I'm going to go down at the bottom of the other bend, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bend it down and then across. See, nice and sharp. I'm going to do that one more time. Yeah, a little tighter. Okay. Bend it down and then across. Nice. Let's check this other one I've already done. Hey, yep, there. Yes, very nice, very nice, very nice, very nice. Okay, 1, 2. I need to do one more bend on the side here, because this is going to be the side, this is going to be the top. Okay. Grasp that, bend it down, and back up. There we go. Okay, last one is going to go across the top, I think. Let me double check, make sure. 1 and 2. Oh, yeah, very good. Now just across the top. Bend it down. And across. There we go. Good, good, good. Okay, so now I need to bend it straight up so I can get my bead in there. I hope I have enough now that I've committed to this 3.5 inches instead of 4. So I'm going to go right in the middle of my spiral, the top of my spiral, and I'm going to bend, and I'm just using my fingers. There we go. There's my little spiral. This one looks a little smaller, but that's okay. I'm going to pop my bead on there. Oh, you know what? Spin that a little further back. Bead on. There we go. And now it's time to wrap. And I'm using a paper bead from Ghana, and it's got a very large hole at the top. So I want to cover that up if I can. So I'm going to bend my wire back, grab my pliers, make a loop. And again, I want this to show, so my loop should be going in the same direction as my spiral. Okay, loop across the top. Go as far as I can before I hit my little bead. Bring my wire under the pliers and on top of my bead. It's drag racers. And let's just wrap. Let's wrap between the pliers and the bead. Okay. And when it's too short for me to continue with my fingers, I just go to my pliers and use the double plier method. Okay, wrap that around. And push down the wire close to the other wire and close to the bead so that there's nothing sticking out there. And there is there's my other one. Now, all I need to do is slide it on. Now I have something very lightweight. It's a small bead, but now it's a little longer because of the way I've made my ear wire. There it is. Neat, huh? So there's one way to wear it. This is another way to wear it. Just something a little different. That's all. I love it. I'm going to put one of these on. All right, let's move on because I could sit here and do this all day. All right, so now we're going to make a round spiral. I just decided that I'd do something a little traditional. So I'm going to do a spiral head pin and a spiral ear wire. So what I need for that is 5 inches of wire. Yeah, 5 inches of wire for my head pin. So what I'm going to do, grab my round nose pliers and make a teeny tiny loop. So I'm grabbing the tip of my wire, my tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers. And I'm going to start my little loop. And now here's one little trick. This, inevitably, you're going to have a slightly long piece on the tip because that's the way your pliers grasp the wire. I'm trying to get this nice and not blurry. I can't. When I move, it does weird things. Bring that down a little closer. That'll help. Okay. So what I do is clip off, and I can't remember who taught me this little trick. It was somebody on YouTube. I really need to give her credit for that. Clip off this little edge here, just so I can get to the roundest part. So now it's nice and round. And I'm going to continue my little loop. So now I have a nice little loop, and I'm going to continue to wrap around this wire. Every time I move, this thing goes blurry. It's very annoying. Please cooperate. It's annoying for me. I know it's annoying for you. All right, let's see if that works. Okay, so I'm going to wrap my wire around the other wire on a nice tight spiral. So there's the beginning. When I can't go any further with my pliers inside because it'll compromise my loop, then I grab my square pliers and I continue to wrap. And just wrap until you have the size spiral that you want. This is the bead that I'm using. I don't want it to be too big. I want it big enough so that it gives me a little bit of decoration for my bead, but not too big. And I've already done one, so I want to match one that I've already done, which is right here. Get over there. Yeah. So I'm going to keep wrapping until it looks like the other one I've already made. That looks very good. All right. So now what I want to do is make my head pin. This is a head pin, just a decorative head pin. So now what I want to do is bend my wire straight up so that I can put my bead on. So I find the center point of my spiral, just right about there, and I just bend. Now you can bend it with your fingers, you can bend it with your pliers. Just give it a nice bend, just like that. And I'm going to pop my bead on there. And that's what it looks like. Now, I could keep it like this, but I want to put mine actually on the bead. So what I'm going to do is bend this, fold this spiral up to meet my wire. And in order to do that, I need to give myself some space for it to rest on my bead. Let me slide this on. And I'm going to leave about a 1/16 of an inch because I have to go around the bottom of the bead. So I want to bend that up just a little bit. So this is what I have. Then I'm going to take my pliers, my round nose pliers, and I'm going to bend it the rest of the way. Because I want this as tight against my spiral as I can get, so I have somewhere for my bead to rest. Okay, so that's bent. My wire is touching the spiral. Let's slide my bead on. And it clicks right in there. Nice. And if you want to, you can squeeze this a little tighter down against your bead. And there we have it. Check my other one. This one looks at the root, looks like it's a tiny bit higher, so I'm going to shift my spiral a little bit so that it matches the other one. Now, this should be mirror imaged. These are both going the same direction. No, we don't want that. We want a mirror image. So what I'm going to do is take this off and flip my spiral around the other way. Make my little adjustments. Just turn it around. Okay. Step back and slide on my bead. There we go. Now I have a mirror image. Very good. There. All right. So now what I want to do is finish off the top. Shift that back just a little bit. There we go. I want to finish off the top. And what I did on this one was just make my wrap and then put a little loop on top. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to bend back my wire right here at the top of my bead. Grab my round nose pliers, slide them between the bead and my wire. And I don't need too big a loop, just enough, again, to go into my ear wire. So I'm going to slide back a third of the way down my pliers, bring my wire over the top of my pliers and down the side. Okay. Reposition my pliers, bring that wire between the pliers and the top of my bead, like so. Then switch off to my square pliers and wrap around my loop in between my pliers and my bead. I'm just going to wrap around twice. There we go, and I have a nice little cap on top. That's pretty. Very nice. And now I'm going to make a little spiral on top to match the spiral on the bottom. And the only reason I did that was because I had extra wire and I didn't want to waste it. So I only have about 3/4 of an inch, which is perfect. And I'm just going to make a small spiral. Grabbing the tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers. Again, I'm going to get rid of that straight end so that it's nice and round. Drop it down in here. There we go. And let's make that first little loop. There we go. Straight here. There we go. Okay. Grab my split pliers and rotate until I have a nice little spiral over my loop. See how they're side by side? And I'm going to push them together. Push my spiral down on top of my loop. There we go. Neat, huh? So I've got a little spiral and I've got a little loop that are back. Nice. Okay. Now I need to make the ear wire that's going to accommodate my lovely little earring. Okay, so I'm going to grab another piece of wire, and for that I need 3 inches. Yes. And for this, I'm going to make another open spiral, but this is going to be a round open spiral. So I'm going to slide my wire down about 1/8 of an inch because I want a nice little loop here and I want it to match the other one I've already got. So slide it down about 1/8 of an inch and I'm going to make a loop. Nothing should be sticking out the back of my pliers. I'm grabbing the tip of my wire down 1/8 of an inch on my pliers. And I'm going to make the loop. Now this is an open spiral. So before, I don't want this to touch the back of my wire. So I'm going to keep wrapping the wire around itself, but I don't want the wire to touch. I'm going to go as far as I can go. That's my first loop. And then I want to keep wrapping, but I'm going to have to use the square pliers. We can go a little bit further. Grab my square pliers, keeping the wire away from each other. Wrap that wire around the other wire, just on the outside of it. And there's my little spiral. Okay, matching this one. Yes, very nice. And now I just need to make a curvature around the other way for the part that's going to go in my ear. Now for this, you can wrap it around a pen or a pencil or the end of your pliers, which is what I did for this one. I just wrapped it around the pliers. So I'm going to go right up here, just beyond the top of my spiral. Just beyond, like that. And I'm going to make a loop. I need to check because I want to make sure it looks like the other one. There. Bring that down a little bit. Check again. We're matching them up. First one is easy. The second one needs to match. Okay. Pretty good. A little more. And let's see what we have again. Nice. Very nice. And now I just need to curve it. This is the part that's going in my ear. Give it a nice little curvature. Okay. There. Very good. Okay. And again, way more than I needed. Better than having not enough. Always, always, always. Okay. Cut that off. Match it up. So they're the same length. I can just measure. Okay, about an inch and 1/8. Okay. I'm a double checker, triple checker, as close as I can get to the first one. And what you can do is just take your pliers and hang it from on. Or a pencil. A pencil would be good too. Okay, there we go. Snip that off. Put my little bend in. Maybe a tiny bit more, just a teeny tiny bit. Where did that go? Oh, darn it, Virginia. Didn't control the cut. Okay, put my little bend in. Again, I used my round nose pliers the last time. I'm going to show you how to do it. With square pliers, same thing. Just boop, put a little bend in. There we go. Here's my ear wire. Just shape it with your fingers to give it a nice gentle curve, just like I did the other one. And extend that out a little bit more. Just a tad. There we go. And how, you ask, do you get it on your ear wire? Well, this one, what you're going to do is slide it over the tail. So you want this to hang this way. So when you put it on, have your ear, the part of the front of the earring facing up. Push it up into the ear wire, let it slide around to the front. And there you go. Now, I need to loosen this up just a tiny bit because it's a little tight down there. And I want this to have some movement. There we go. And there it is. Hey, there are my earrings. It's hard to show because what you're going to have is this is going to be the front. This is going to be the side. So no matter where you look, it's going to be decorative and pretty. That was my whole idea. So that's the front, that's the side. Doesn't matter how you look, it's going to be gorgeous. And let's shape it. Shape that tip. Nice and round. Very good. And there are my earrings. Here they are. Nice. Okay, so there we have it. We've got two pairs of ear wires. And 3 earrings. Are we finished? We are not. Because I'm going to give you, I think I'm going to give you one more to do. No, I'm not. I think that's it. That's it for today. I could have done another one just because I'm having a really, really good time. But this will go on forever if I keep going, and I can save it for another. We can do another earring. tutorial later. So there we go. There's another one like that. Go ahead and slide this on here. Neat. Isn't that awesome? I love things that are reversible. I mean, if this wasn't copper, I would be able to, well, I don't know why I couldn't anyway, just slide this on here. And then I would have a square spiral with the round spiral. Oh, yeah, please, somebody do that. Please, somebody do that. I would love for you to do that and show it to me, because that would be awesome. There we go. There we have it, ladies and gents. Everybody out there in YouTube land or Zoom land, depending on how you've decided to tune in. There it is. I think I have too much light. Maybe that's what's causing the glare. I don't know. Okay, there we go. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you got something out of it. And I hope that you will use this to make your own earrings and decorative ear wires, because this is fun. I love doing them. You can make a bunch of these earrings and just put them on the different ear wires to change the look. It'll change the entire look of the piece if you change your ear wires. Who says the ear wires have to be standard and plain? They don't. So let's do this, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody out there. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep staring at them. Okay, so that's it. That's our piece for today. That is those are our earrings. That's what we're making. I hope that you're going to make them. Those of you who get kits will have enough to make 3 pairs of earrings. And I hope that you will enjoy. Show me what you do. Let me put one of these on so you can see them. Okay, here's one pair. Front, side, decorative all the way around. Here's another one with the square spiral, the tight one. And here's the one with the open square spiral. In there. So just a different way to make your French wires. Just something different. With that nice, looks like a empirical look at the top there. That's it, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody. That is our show for today. I hope that you will make one, if not all, of these earrings, because I just love them all. I think they're wonderful. And you can take them with you and you can wear them with any and everything. I really love this longer ear wire for something small, like this little paper bead, because it just gives it's not as close up and it gives it a little more definition, I think. Anyway, that's it. That's our piece for today, our pieces for today. I hope that you enjoyed this. Sorry, this is really weird right here. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you will make some of these and show me what you make, because I really always love to see what you do. You can get in touch with me at my Facebook page. That's jewelrygen20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. or you can comment on the library Facebook page, which is facebook.com/DeKalb Library. That's facebook.com/DeKalblibrary. Or you can comment on the YouTube page, which is youtube.com/DeKalb Library. Hope to hear from you. Until next time, I hope you have a great week and a good weekend, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.